RTC. Rufus team, stand up. What's up, Rufus Nation? I'm back at you guys with another rant video. As you know, my last rant video was a bit tragic. I lost my good take, but this one, you know, our mic is working and we're feeling confident because today we're ranting about something that's been a long time coming. Not in the sense that I've scripted this video or anything, but I've been requested to rant about When They Cry. I've been ranting about When They Cry to people who don't care since as long as I can remember, pretty much. I came out of the womb talking about why people should read When They Cry. I hadn't even read it yet. That's the sort of time I'm on. So, needless to say, this was a very exciting rant to receive, in spite of what the fact that I waited till the last day of the month practically to record it may suggest. So, without further ado, let's just start talking about When They Cry. So, I would like to talk about the general structure of When They Cry real quick, I guess. I already made a video about Umineko, so I'm pretty much just going to be talking about Higurashi in this video, because for simplicity's sake, When They Cry is comprised of Higurashi and Umineko. That's not actually all of it, but we don't got to get off into the weeds here. That's most of the that's not all of it, is all I'm going to say. That's not all of it, but those are the two halves that I'm going to be talking about. And since I've already talked about Umineko, I'm probably mostly just going to want to talk about Higurashi. These started out as a sound novel series, which basically means a voice-acted book, pretty much. A voice-acted, dialogue-driven book with character sprites and music to go along with it. It's technically a video game. It's not really a video game. But those were the originals, and then it got adapted into anime, it got adapted into manga, fighting games, all this weird stuff. Higurashi basketball is a thing, and it's awesome. There's a gacha app. There's all this stuff, and the Higurashi extended universe has just expanded exponentially since when I watched the show, which is really something special, because spoiler warning for Higurashi, that show also expands exponentially. So, starting off as a humble horror series, Higurashi plays on the spooky, scary idea of being new in a new town and not really knowing too well the people all around you that you are forced to call your closest friends because you're so far away from anybody else that you know. It's sort of about that difficult situation where you clearly need to confide in and trust people, but you don't have anybody that you can confirm is trustworthy around you, even though you really want to believe that they are. So that is sort of the fear that this series initially plays off, and it's very thematically relevant. But it follows Keiichi, who moves from, I believe it is Tokyo, to a small town called Hinamizawa. Very traditional. Very small town, farming town, not many people coming in or out. They're still very tightly bound to the local tradition, all that stuff. There's like one school with all the grades in it, and there's like 15 students total, one teacher. That's the type of town we're talking about, really out in the sticks. So he goes here. He meets this group of girls, which he quickly befriends. And, they start having fun. They play card games. They do funny. They do awesome. That's what everybody remembers the show for. Well, not totally. It especially used to have a reputation of being like this super messed up, gory anime. Because it is. The anime adaptation especially is like super gratuitously gory. And it's like, dude, look at how freaking metal this show is. Look at what she's doing. Oh my gosh, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. But for a lot of people who actually got into the series, and for a lot of them that probably would have been what hooked them into it. But what I remember most, and a trend that I've noticed among most people who would call themselves fans of the series, are those, more low-key, fun, funny, awesome moments where they're just like playing games and stuff. The sort of human core of the show has somehow transcended the immense shock value of its premise and some of its earlier arcs. So, how does it do that? How do we do that? We have a character, our main boy. I'll go character by character. He is sort of the self-insert type of main character, at least towards the beginning. He definitely has his quirks. He's got a bit of a checkered past. He's somewhat mysterious himself, but generally speaking, he's kind of an everyman. He's not particularly awesome at anything. He's like a bit cheeky, a bit mischievous, but also, he seems to have a good heart. He doesn't have too many super far out there unique character traits or anything like that, because once again, you're sort of supposed to see things through his eyes, especially in the anime adaptation. Now, he meets a group of girls very early on, as I said earlier, and quickly befriends them, as they're really the only people even kind of near his age in the entire area. So he basically befriends them, and they start acting really suspicious right away after they have, very fun, wholesome moments for a while. They start asking him why he's lying, telling him to stay out of things, why he's keeping secrets from them, and just doing all this really unhinged stuff. It's more so the way that they do it, and how abruptly assertive they become. Not assertive, antagonizing they become, and aggressive. And it starts to get increasingly concerning, until eventually, all I'll say is by the end of episode 4, everybody's dead. So, how is this series like 1 billion episodes long? Well, by episode 5, they just all kind of come back and nothing's explained. They're just there again, and you're expected to go along with it. Obviously, this is explained later, but the first part of the series takes place within a time loop. I mean, it kind of all does, but for all we know, we are just observing this very bizarre phenomenon happening, the nature of which we have no manner of discerning. It is just a time loop that's happening for whatever reason. Maybe these people are in purgatory, maybe they're in hell, maybe it's some weird time travel experiment Steins Gate thing. We don't know. But eventually it's revealed that there is one of them who is essentially being tortured, but she is over 1,000 years old, and she has been reliving the same few months, I'm not sure what the exact time frame is, these same few months over and over and over again for way too long, and she's had to die a lot of times. So that's really horrible. That person is Riker, also known as Rika. And she is the more soft-spoken. Obviously, she's more mature than anybody else because she's, unfathomably more experienced than them, just in life in general, than anybody who's pretty much ever lived. But she's more reserved. She's a little bit more mysterious. I think she's, the youngest character in the show. She's 10 or something. She's really young. And basically, yeah, it just turns out that Riker over here, and she has the best catchphrase ever. You cannot forget the catchphrase. The catchphrase is amazing. I can't say it right now, but you guys are just gonna have to trust me on this one. This catchphrase is for the ages. I tell you, for the ages. But that is pretty much Rika as we know her for the first half of the series. Bit more reserved, intelligent, somewhat mysterious, and she is part of a notable family. She is the last part of a notable family, pretty much. She lives on her own, which is incredibly bizarre considering that she's 10 years old. And her other 10-year-old friend, or 11 or something, I think she's slightly older, she houses her too. At points in the show, because she has a really bad home life. But Rika is, she's the most mature character. She turns out to be kind of the main character. And, that's just how it goes with Rika. The fan favorite is Rena. And it's probably just because her design is so striking But she is like the most, and she had like she was the first person who got introduced as like exhibiting those sus tendencies. So like she got a lot of the early iconic scenes that had the most eyeballs on them. So that's probably why Reina is so beloved. It's mostly the design, I bet. But she is crazy. She is crazy. She's the one that you can most simply describe as crazy. Um, she she's very bubbly, cutesy in the sense that she's obsessed with cute things. Not that she's like super especially cutesy herself. She kinda is, but she just has this like fixation on cute things for whatever reason. And it's mostly just played off for laughs. But like everybody whose home life sucks, I said that like my home life sucks. My home life absolutely does not suck. But like everybody in this show, whose home life sucks, Raina's home life sucks. So she has a lot of problems with that. She has a lot of problems. Her parents split up. She feels like it's her fault. It is a big deal. She basically like broke down at her old school and did a bunch of bad stuff. But I don't know. At this point, I don't know how relevant going character by character is to really just getting to the point of what the series is, I guess. And this series is really just an expression of like the sheer extent that empathy can carry you, or exactly how far you can take it, exactly how far you can go in forgiving somebody and being able to think of them once again as a good person. Because these characters, they do absolutely horrible things, and there are reasons. Like a lot of times they're under a certain influence, but those tendencies are within them on some level, because a lot of people would say that they are within all of us. So it's incredibly nerve-wracking to see people act on those tendencies and still have to trust them moving forward, knowing that like you might be capable of something similar if you're pushed far enough. It's just a tremendous amount of insecurity that this show instills. But these characters start off doing horrible things and they grow on you. They grow on you so much to the point where they bring a smile to your face. They really do, especially Rika. Because she's awesome. All of these characters bring a smile to your face. All of them are awesome. All of them are iconic pretty much. And that's just sort of the spirit of Higurashi. It's a character story, writer's character story. It is all about the characters. It's sort of hard to describe them briefly because, it was originally written in that like video game novel type format with like a billion freaking words. So it's kind of hard to get into what makes the character writing so special because a lot of that merit lies within like the somewhat rambling, just absolute walls and walls and walls of text that the author Ryokishi was able to generate. But if I were to sum up the appeal of When They Cry and really like why I like it so much and why maybe a lot of other people like it, aside from the obvious that it's a good series, it's well paced, it's very thematically interesting and all that stuff. It's got great characters. I think that this is the reason that so many people are into it. One of the reasons. So yeah, what do you guys think? Leave it down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys patroning. I appreciate all of the support. My channel's going through a hiccup right now, but this isn't about that, and we're going to absolutely sprint through it, and we're going to be chilling. So, Rufus, out. Have a great day, y'all.